Hello, and welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, we will discuss the potential harmful and beneficial effects of AI. Please enjoy this video and don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and share it with your friends and family to further support us on our journey and to keep us well fed. Uh, right now, I've got this amazing, very handsome guest with me.
Oh
His
man,
name is. Please say your name.
my name is Ibrahim Haddad, and I am honored to be a guest on this beautiful, beautiful show.
Oh my God, no, I'm blushing, dude. God. All right. All right. So, um, first, let's start with what is your opinion on the trajectory that AI is going on right now?
Yeah, so the way it's going right now is its kind of initial aim is to decrease the workload of most people in their fields, right? So the way I see it right now is it's kind of attacking a lot of the creativity of you know of the world. It's taking it's taking things that have been produced already, and it's using what has already been produced to create something new, or more accurately, an amalgamation of everything that's already been produced. Now, where this is headed is hard to pinpoint exactly, but if not regulated, whether it be by laws or by the developers themselves, it could lead to an exodus almost of creative workers, or just people who work in creative fields. So how it goes about developing, that remains to be seen. But yeah, it's all in our hands basically, and how we deal with it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I I believe that it's it's actually very sad because if it does continue on, let's say the path it is going on right now, it's gonna be very sad that we might just lose a lot of our creativity as human beings
Hmm.
because of this. Um,
Absolutely.
and actually, we might start to like so AI. Maybe it could be used for I don't know, for jobs or replacing jobs and replacing a lot of, like you said, creative ways that people used to go about things. I think that
Yeah.
there will come a time where you know people actually start to hate it and will actually start to like for example, like if you for example in America there's this place in California. I think it's called like it's like the last free place. It's like people just start escaping society and start escaping everything. Just go
Wow.
start building things on their own, and then start just being creative and really. So, but going to the far extreme, basically. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so in terms of, so everybody's talked about how AI can can be can reach a state where it can other than stealing our jobs, it'll start oh, it can kill us and all of that.
Yeah.
um which honestly I don't know if it could happen or not, but it's a lot of people have talked about it, a lot of different opinions on it.
Yeah.
But the way I want to delve into this is, um I want to see the human aspect that's going to play into the development of AI.
Hmm.
And so this brings us to, what do you like? What do you see? How will AI develop through human hands? Through how we're gonna cultivate its um like the information we give it, how we're going
Yeah.
to uh, go further and innovate in all of its, R&D research stuff and like that. So talk to me about it.
Got you. Okay. So obviously, it's all in the hands of whoever is developing it, and how they train it to behave. And the thing is, it's highly unlikely that AI will ever, become sentient and decide to, end the human race. Because in the end, AI will only do what it's told to do. Um, so unless some maniac decides to make that his life mission, then maybe. But that's it's highly unlikely. The thing
There are a
is,
lot of maniacs in this world.
that's a
Yeah.
fact, yeah. But yeah, the thing is, like, look, evil exists in the world regardless, and there's no escaping that reality. So in the wrong hands, AI can be used to wreak absolute havoc upon the world. Which is why I personally believe, and this may have already happened or will start happening soon. International law will come into play when it comes to AI and what can be done with AI and regulations and rules and all that stuff. Because the possibilities of AI are endless. And um, in let's look at it from a less dystopian sense. Besides the fact of war and killing and all that. Um, if we look at it from a almost business standpoint, let's look at the art aspect of AI. So we see a lot of AI art around now, and it's very common. But the thing about AI art is it can only generate art based on real art that's been created. So there is a solution to this that can actually allow, real artists and AI to exist in harmony, which is, as long as AI developers or platforms pay for licenses, or they pay the artists to use their art to train their AI, as opposed to what it's doing now, which is basically just scraping everything off of the internet and then mixing it into something new. If they start paying artists for licenses, right, and allowing artists to benefit from their work, then that is one way that can, you know, where creative workers and AI can coexist. But yeah, generally it's in the hands of whoever holds the power. So yeah, again, what I believe is going to happen is international law is going to come into play and hopefully regulate all that.
Okay, so how about we tackle this from a more positive side? How about what do you think like could be done like through humans influencing AI?
In a
So
positive sense.
other than us starting a war with each other, everybody
Yeah.
just starts, we're gonna have instead of training soldiers first, we're gonna train AI to attack another AI. This is all possible. This is all a
It just
possibility.
becomes a big video game.
Yeah, literally becomes a big video game. So it's talk to me about the positive sides. How
Yeah,
because you always have to find the light. Yeah, in the dark, you
absolutely,
have to always look at stuff positively. So, um, what's your opinion on it?
for sure. Um, yeah, so we can look at it in many fields in which AI can be utilized in the general betterment of humanity. Let's look at the medical field, for example. I remember seeing recently there was an AI that was developed initially, right? It was initially developed to sort different types of pastries in a bakery, but what it ended up doing was actually being able to diagnose a certain very difficult type of cancer, because it was able to identify shapes really well. I forgot the details of it, but the it's yeah, sorry, it was able to identify shapes, which is basically what was needed to diagnose the cancer.
Wow,
And
dude.
Yeah, it was actually very fascinating.
Yeah.
So that's one example of how AI can generally improve fields in a positive sense for humanity as a whole. So there's medical, then you could look at for example, engineering perspective. It could solve some very, very difficult mathematical problems, whether it's, architectural engineering or electrical engineering, any any difficult field that is currently, developing. Um, AI can be utilized basically anywhere, right? So yeah, I would say it's most um the field with the most amount of benefit, I guess, net benefit to be gained would probably be the medical field, which is possibly the most important field. But yeah, that's just a few examples of how, in a positive sense, AI could be developed by human hands, as you said.
Yeah. Again, in my opinion, it goes back to okay, there are plenty of options to use something in a good way, and there are other plenty of options to use it in a bad way, and it
Hmm.
goes back to how we choose which path we choose, basically. Which obviously the more favorable path will be, obviously the positive path, because just we have like across humanity, across history, we have come up with a lot of amazing innovations that sadly are then used and purchased for a lot of money
Hmm.
and are used in the opposite direction, total opposite direction.
Yeah.
And there are so many, just so many examples of that. For example, take it as nuclear weapons, right?
Yeah.
It started out as a discovery, and then people were just like, "Oh, this could kill a person. Okay, let me let me buy this professor, right? Let him work for me, so I can then,
Yeah.
if anybody tries to do something sneak, and honestly, you can't stop that way of thinking.
Yeah, exactly. There's no
Yeah,
way.
you can't really stop it. It's just always there, and I think it is. I want to call it a protective ideology, but it's not just protect. It's a bit selfish. It's not a bit. It's very selfish.
Hmm.
Um, and it's always been there. And I just it could be it can't be prevented, but it can be solved.
Yeah.
Um, so I believe that we should all come together and actually start serving ourselves, because whatever we decide, like I said in the last episode I did with our guest Yassine, I told him that this world it's like a mirror, and whatever you whatever you do, it will come back onto you. So you can create in all of these creations, you can create cars, you can create whatever, but then cars now start polluting the sky, factories start polluting the sky, right? And then now we've got air pollution, right? And then we all these other creations that also affect the earth negatively, and so now it has resulted in climate change, right? And
Yeah.
so it's whatever you do, it will always come back onto you. And so we are getting absolutely you can see people in the west being like, oh, I can't handle this heat. I'm like right, it's
I
because I
wonder whose
mean,
fault that is.
yeah, exactly, whose fault is it? It's yours.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
like I said, it's we always have to remind ourselves with the consequences, because these consequences don't only apply onto us individually. Sometimes it can apply on all of the globe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is why we need to find a solution for this, and this brings us to how we can prevent the downfall of humanity. Um, prevent us going down this path
Yeah.
of using AI in this negative manner, in this very selfish, very power greedy manner, and it, finding a solution to all of this.
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
Um, I kind of briefly mentioned this earlier. The only real solution is just the intervention of law. If we look at there's I forget the details, but there's certain laws, for example, that ban and these are international laws that ban countries, for example, from building like galactic warfare, basically, or any kind of outer space weaponry or anything like that, right? And these types of laws will have to come into play in order to prevent that type of negative use of AI. Obviously, what typically happens is every country is going to prepare themselves, just like how we have a bunch of countries that have nuclear weapons, but they don't never use them. So like every country is probably going to have some type of weaponry ready, but it's going to be banned until one country uses it, and then all the countries start using it, and then that typically is the downfall of humanity. So there's only so much we can actually do to prevent it. But then you have like Kim Jong Un with a big red button on his desk. If he presses it, it's the end of the world.
This man is
Um,
waiting, man. This dude's finger is
he is.
itching. Yeah.
But yeah, so it would have to be some kind of international law, maybe a whole new like section of the UN would be formed just to combat to battle this issue. So yeah, that's the only real prevention or solution that I see actually having an effect.
Yeah, I agree with that because I was gonna say like try to influence these people that are like the developers of AI. Try to convince them. But it's like what who are you trying to convince? I mean, look at
Yeah,
what's happening right now, dude. There's no
exactly.
convincing. There's no convincing, for example, Israel to stop bombing Palestine, right?
Yeah,
So it's either that or again any war happens, there's always gonna come out a faction where they're gonna be like the peacekeepers basically, or it's also gonna be like
yeah,
people that create a more powerful AI or whatever, and then they try to bring this whole thing down and bring it to peace and order. But
yeah.
that's more of it's a bit more. I don't know. In my opinion, this is more fictional. Like
Mhm.
just because I play too many games and this happens. But I mean, honestly, if we do reach that point, yeah, it will happen. Yeah, it could definitely happen. But other than that, it's just like law is gonna be. It's definitely gonna have to come into play. And I hope and I pray that they do not come in late.
Yeah,
Because it's just yeah, like a lot of people are realizing this problem early on. Like I don't remember who this. He was like a big developer, and then he decided to quit.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's actually multiple of them. I remember there was one called Mo Gaudet. He was a ex Google CEO, I believe.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. He's Egyptian, by the way. Shout out to all my Egyptians. But yeah, he decided to step down
Mhm.
because he was in charge of a certain AI that they were making, and he even said it. He was like, there was a certain floor where they were experimenting on AI, and that floor he'd like see it when he was like going up in the elevator and stuff, and so
Yeah.
he'd like go and check on it, and so he kept checking on it. It was like they were trying to make this AI like carry a ball, right?
Mhm.
And so it's like days go by, weeks go by, and then months go by, and then one day he's like, "Oh, this thing is not gonna work," right? But then one day he goes and checks up on it, and he's like, it starts picking up the ball, and so
Yeah.
it's crazy how AI. It's crazy how like we've developed the software and all the hardware and everything that can allow AI to learn on its own like that. It's crazy to me, like till this day.
Yeah, that's almost terrifying.
Yeah, it is terrifying. That's what he
Yeah,
said. He said that's why he stepped down. That's why he quit. It's like it is insane. It's people should fear it, you know? So yeah, this is if you don't have anything else to say, we can just go ahead and you know.
I was just gonna comment when
Yeah.
when you mentioned video games. It actually reminded me of a video game called Horizon Zero Dawn,
Oh, I love
which
that. Yeah.
a great game. But yeah, it kind of it it reminded me. It relates to this topic because basically that the setting of that video game is humanity developed so much to a point where it reverted back almost to the Stone Age. So where like the humanity and society was back to, bows and arrows and stone tools and all that stuff. But at the same time, what they were fighting, what they were dealing with, was actually incredibly advanced AI and advanced technology that through and you can see what caused the downfall of humanity in the video game was the selfishness and greed of man, where once they started using this technology for warfare, it ended up um, destroying everything and and sending humanity back thousands of years. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because it's a pretty pretty relevant theme.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, it's displayed. It's displayed across a bunch of games, and I believe that a bunch of games will be able to predict how the future of AI could possibly be.
For sure, yeah.
Many games, Horizon, Cyberpunk, a lot of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is it for today's episode. It was an amazing conversation with you, Ibrahim. Thank you very much.
Really was. Thank you for having me, man.
So as always, if we'd like to know what your opinions are on these topics, so please go ahead and comment down in the comments, and we will make sure to read each and every one of them and reply to each and every one of them. And thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video if you want to see us make more of this content. And don't forget to follow our socials. You can find them in the description. And thank you all very much. And bye bye.